Before we go into our networking groups, we're going to hear concluding remarks on our whole 3-day conference from Bob Coughlin, the president and CEO of the Massachusetts Biotechnology Council. And you can read Bob's super impressive bio in the program, including his previous roles as Undersecretary of Economic Development and State Representative. And Bob has led MassBio for the past 13 years, and he is really a true champion for patients and innovation in the life sciences industry. MassBioEd is very privileged to have such an amazing partner as Bob and MassBio. So take it away, Bob. Yes, we can.
It's too bad that that was muted, because I was just off to the best start ever. And I apologize that you guys missed it. But I started off by saying, thank you very much, Sonny. And think of how many times people want to mute me in life. Well, not now, so I'm unmuted. But thank you, Sonny, and thank you to all of the folks at MassBioEd, and thank you to all of you for participating in Life Sciences Workforce 2020. You know, outside of the topic here that you guys have been talking about for the last several days, a 3-day virtual event, which is truly amazing, you know, I always like to talk about patients, because what we do in this industry is we solve unmet medical need, and we do it for sick people. Patients from all over the world. And, you know, people often lose sight of the fact that, you know, how did we here in Massachusetts become one of, if not the best place in the world for the life sciences? Well, you know, it's perfectly clear. It's not because of the weather, right? And it's not because we didn't have transportation issues. Obviously, pre-COVID-19, congestion and traffic are unbearable, not at a tipping point, but at a breaking point. How is it that we have become the best place in the world for this industry? Well, obviously, our big mission is to ensure that academia, government, and industry all work together so that we have a good environment, but a good environment for innovation, for the ecosystem for innovation. And we do have that, but, you know, let's peel it right back and let's, you know, face it. Let's admit it. Let's preach it. Let's pound our chest, letting the world know that the reason we're the best place in the world for this industry is because of our natural resource here. What's our natural resource? It's talent. It's talent, whether it's homegrown, cultivated here, or recruited to come here. From any place else in the world. And we just talked about, this last panel talked about how foreign-born talent represents about 40% of our workforce, right? That's so important to acknowledge and make sure that we protect that. But guys, let's go back to talent. It is the talent here in Massachusetts that makes us so successful. Now, you know, I'm going to talk just briefly. I'm the only thing standing between you and the networking event, so I don't want to speak too long. I'm just going to take a few moments of your time. But it's so important that we acknowledge why important this talent is right now. And I'm going to prove to you using some numbers on why this talent is something that we need to cherish and protect and foster. And that's all what this Life Sciences Workforce conference is about. And that's why Carla and Sonny and the entire MassBioEd team decided we're not going to cancel this event because of COVID-19. In fact, it's more important that we have this event now than ever. Maybe we do have to do it a little bit different, but so what? Look at how many people have been participating and look at what we're getting out of it. And let me tell you why it's so important. When we started focusing on making Massachusetts better for this industry back about 13, 14 years ago with the 10-year billion-dollar life science initiative, when the Patrick administration decided that they were going to really play our strengths and be committed to this industry, think of how lucky we are now that we did that. Because right now, in the midst of COVID-19, let's face it, guys, there's only one way out of the problem that we're in right now with this pandemic. That way is science. Science is the only thing that's going to get us out of the problem we're in right now relating to the pandemic, okay? Who would have thought, like I can't tell you how many events I've spoken at since I've became the CEO of MassBio, thousands, right? I never ever thought that I would be able to address an audience and say that the most important thing to both our world's economy and people feeling safe again, and the ability to, the thought of people needing a medicine so that they could go back to some sort of a normal life. I never, ever, ever would have thought that the most important thing would be a vaccine. I didn't think it. I work in the space, right? And I didn't think that was going to be the case. Well, I'll tell you, right now in Massachusetts, there are close to 80 companies, 80, in little old Massachusetts, close to 80 companies that are working on COVID-19 related technology, science, innovation, whether it's diagnostics, therapeutics, or vaccines. Close to 80. I don't think anywhere else in the country or the world could say that a little old place like, you know, the size of Massachusetts has that critical mass of amazing women and men going to work every day to solve this problem. You know, there's only 8 vaccines right now in the world that are in clinical trials. 8 vaccines in the world that are in clinical trials. 2 of them are right here in Massachusetts. You know, one of them is a Massachusetts headquartered company. The other one is a very, very large company that has a very, very large significant presence here that is actually manufacturing. 2 companies are manufacturing potential vaccines here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen by chance. It happened because we have 122 colleges and universities in Massachusetts that are working so hard alongside of the folks in industry to make sure that we're putting a product out that can sustain what we're building on here. I mean, we compete with different places all over the country and all over the world as it relates to a real estate siting. That's great. Maybe somewhere else you can get a cheaper building or cheaper access to water or discharge, sewer, etc. But you don't have that sustainable workforce. So that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do to ensure that the most important thing to our industry, meaning humans, talent, that's the most important thing we have. And if we don't continue to focus on it and do the amazing work that you're all doing, we will lose. And losing is not an option right now for many reasons. Let's go, guys. 3 days. Day 1, you talked about quantitative data on the hiring landscape. You know, think of the fact that we had to go to a virtual world and we're still moving forward here in our industry. Day 2, talking about education, right? And to have both Chris Murphy as a speaker, you've also had Secretary Jim Pizer was a speaker, and you learned about the many ways that institutions of higher education are coping with this crisis while we're keeping kids out of labs. You know, I have two kids that are still, one's going to grad school and she's working hard without labs. She's in the medical field, and my son, who's in the engineering field as well, working very hard at Mass Maritime without having labs. It's been difficult, but man, they're working their way through it, and they need to. And we commend our partners in higher ed for the way that they've handled this unprecedented situation. You know, and then all the way down to today's discussions, which again, I alluded to earlier, but are so, so, so important, guys. You know, MassBio, we stood up real early when our administration came up with a really bad immigration policy. We need everybody to know that in Massachusetts, no matter where you come from, you are welcome here in Massachusetts. Our workforce has become the best and the brightest because of our commitment to diversity and inclusion. You look at what we're doing with Project On-Ramp to try to promote diversity and inclusion in our workforce, and creating internships for kids coming up in underserved communities. That stuff is all so important. And in today's day and age, it's even more important, because we will not continue to stay on top without, everyone knows, the more diverse any organization, the better the outcome will be. That's a scientific fact. And for anyone to say that that isn't true, I'm saying they're wrong. I don't know if I have the authority to do that, but I think we all agree that those people are wrong. So we want to continue to make sure that even during COVID-19, we do the best we can to make sure that our workforce is able to stay here safely in their homes and in their workplaces. And we're going to continue to do that. You know, over the past 4 years, the Life Sciences Workforce Conference has been, it's brought information and insights into the life sciences workforce, but it also, what's so cool about this event, it brings together academic leaders with their counterparts in industry so that you can have the candid conversations about education and training. And now, in a light of where our country's at as we deal with things like systemic racism and a pandemic at the same time. Coming together is more important than ever, guys. And we all need to stay on course and continue to do the amazing work that we're doing. And I'm so confident that we will get through all of this. We will continue to be the best place in the world for this industry. And, you know, the alternative is unacceptable. We don't have a choice. We need to continue to get better at what we're doing so that we can stay on top. And, you know, so thank you. Thank you, all of you, for coming together, because that's what this is all about. Maybe we're not together in person, you all realize that, but we're coming together virtually the best we can. And one could argue that we're being more efficient and effective than ever. So again, you know, make sure you stick around now for the networking sessions, because the networking sessions are so important. Please use the opportunity to reach across the aisle and connect with one another. And guys, I can't thank you all enough for participating in which is the 5th annual Life Sciences Workforce Conference. It's so amazing to think that this is the 5th year that we've done this. Time does pass by so fast, and none of this would be possible if it weren't for our rock star, amazing team of women and men at MassBio Ed, and our amazing sponsors from Sanofi Genzyme, Millipore Sigma, Thermo Fisher Scientific, and Third Rock Venture Partners. So guys, have a wonderful networking session. I can't thank you enough for all that you do for humankind and all that you do for the patients of the world. Have a great afternoon.